It's what's in your wallet.
I'm so old.
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 explosive hot dog carts.
Ritualistic blood magic.
Laser shooting chesty statues.
Don't watch movies unless we tell you to. Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil, a movie podcast that punches you in the face with words. That roundhouse kicks you in the ears with good vibes. That tears the throat out of the bad podcast you were listening to and gives you a little kiss on the forehead, which isn't in the movie, but I just, it seems like a delicate, nice thing that we would do for each other. Right?
I'm your host. I ask?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's
How
Craig.
Do you rip? Hi, I'm Craig. I'm jumping in because I just couldn't wait any longer. How do you rip someone's throat out?
Oh, easy. You just, this is an audio medium, so it's not going to work as well. You pull your pinky in, so you're only using 4 of your fingers, and then just grab, and then it just comes out.
Yeah, because it was just like...
Yeah,
his little ninja move.
Yeah, we'll get into that because there's a whole I'm your host Phil. I host the show. Joined as always by 2 of my senseis. No, 2 of 2 of my movie senseis. Craig Norland.
Yes.
Are you more of a punch or a kick?
Oh, kicker for sure.
Okay, for sure. I like that for you. It's the smarter, it's sort of the more old school way to do it. And that's what I think of when I think of Craig as kicking and old school. And Will Chotis.
Hey, I'm here too.
Are you more of a puncher or a kicker?
Well, following tradition, when it comes to making choices that are either or out of 3, I'm going to go exactly with what Craig just said, because we tend to always pick the same thing. But I'm a kicker because super strong legs. I was a runner, swimmer. I have long dancer's legs. Can't lift my own body weight up with my arms.
Yep.
So no punching.
So Hitmon Lee all the way.
Yeah. I know, interestingly enough, a lot of punching comes from the legs.
That's true.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
Most of the time, the boxers, if you watch, they actually have put the gloves on their feet.
Oh, you were doing a bit. But I know it's more than just how strong your arms are when it comes to fighting.
It's sort of an all-aroundy thing.
What about you, Phil? Are you a
punch
kicker
all the
or
way. I
puncher
don't have
or
very strong
headbutter?
legs.
What's that?
Punch all the way.
Punch all the way.
I don't have very strong legs, but I have tiny hands, so the PSI goes up.
Yeah.
The punch per square inch.
Yeah, because if you got too big of hands, that's too broad of a surface area,
Yeah, I can put the same amount of power in to a tinier little point.
Tiny amount of space, that's right.
Yeah.
It hurts way more.
Yeah. I would know because I've punched anyone.
Yeah, I've also punched quite a bit of people and have been punched myself before. So much so that I know how it feels.
I know exactly how it feels to get into a physical altercation.
Right. And I'm not afraid of it anymore. I'm not afraid of getting hit in the face. There's
absolutely not.
It's not a terrifying prospect.
Never have been, never will be.
Yeah, because it's not that.
Have you guys actually been punched in the face?
No.
Once.
Okay. I felt like Will was actually telling a half-truth. No, well, Phil, I knew yours was a bit.
Yeah, one person threw a punch at me, but it was in 3rd grade, and it was at a bus stop, and I just put my hand up, and he hit me in the hand, and then he said, ow. And I was like, what? And he said he had a bruise across all of his fingers. Not from hitting me. He said that's why it hurt.
Oh, right. Yeah. I remember those kids. Those guys were fun.
Yeah. So that's it. I've never been in a fight otherwise with a human.
Yeah.
Robots on the other hand.
I wrestle with Fitz, but that's more
it's not really
cuteness,
punching.
aggression. But he does bite sometimes.
Yeah, the biting from a dog is not great, but sometimes Lucy is terrible at play biting because she's like, I'm playing, I'm having way too much fun. And then you're like, okay, ow,
I'm playing
Lucy.
so hard.
Ow, Lucy. And she's like, what'd I do? You encouraged this. I'm like, I don't know that I did, but that's okay. We're just gonna move on.
Sheba was the worst at play biting, but in the exact opposite way.
Oh.
She would do it like so sparingly, and I just remember one time she did it, and she just like very slowly put her mouth around my arm, no pressure at all, and then looked at me as like, "Is this okay?"
Oh,
what a gentle dog.
Will, when did you get punched in the face?
I don't know exactly how old I was when it happened, and there are various. This is a family story.
A Rashomon.
Yeah. So
situation.
Yes, it quite literally is.
Is there a ghost involved? Because I won't accept it
Maybe.
if it's not.
I don't know, but no, it was my older brother punched me in the face. He got like some bad advice from a therapist or something. That's what he tells. From my point of view, I turned to him and said something benign like, "You're a dummy." I remember immediately after he hit me in the nose, he like punched me square in the nose. I remember thinking, for that, I've said so much worse. And then
that was the straw.
And then my memory is that my mom it seemed to me that she brushed it under the rug, and I still had to go to my piano lesson. She remembers it differently, but I don't. So that's what I'm sticking to that. That suits my narrative that I like to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I got punched in the face, and I remember thinking, wow, that really sucks. I hope that never happens again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's right in the nose, which is the crotch of the face.
Oh, it's the worst. It hurts so bad. And it feels like your brain is going to explode.
Yeah, it's like it hurts, and not in the place that you got hit. It hurts all over. It's like, why? And then you're like, sort of like,
your existence hurts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Craig, have you asked us pretty openly, have you ever been punched in the face? Is this when I find out that you get into fights?
No, I have never been punched in the face. I apparently got in fights in like intermediate school, like 6th grade. I apparently clotheslined some kid. I don't remember that at all.
Hell yeah.
So
badass Craig.
Oh, yeah, you know me. So, yeah, there's some things that we were like, oh, yeah, don't you remember you got in a fight? And usually the fights were like push, shove, kick, kick, kick. All right, you sissies, break it up. That's enough of that.
Yeah, I got in plenty physical altercations with my brothers, but it was never like punching. It was always like, you're a dummy. And it was just like a lot of like smacking and thumping on people's backs and like just sort of like kicking your leg out and then tripping them. And it's just like not effective fighting at all.
Yeah.
I'm guessing no, but I do want to ask you guys, do you suffer from the I would say, I'm going to go ahead and say entirely male delusion of thinking you could fight certain animals? It goes around the internet every once in a while where there's like, this is the list of like animals that this percentage of men think they can take in a fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, it gets above like a horse. And you're just like, you would have stopped like 3 animals ago.
Right.
There's a wolf on this list, you idiot.
Pretty large dog works 90% of the time.
Yeah, it would not take much.
Yeah.
Like a cat, like a small cat, and I'm out.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, I've seen things where it's just like, you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, what is he thinking about? It's from like a female's point of view. What is he thinking about? He's thinking of all these important things. And it's like, what he's actually thinking about is like, I think I do pretty well in World War II. You know, it's just like that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, I think I'd be a hero. And then you like sort of think about it. But I don't like pain or conflict or physical activity. I'd be a coward. No, that's what I meant to say. I'd be a coward.
Yeah, I would have run away to Canada.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, How was your eclipse day yesterday?
Oh, well, Colorado only got like 60%. So it's like 60% of a cool day.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's still really cool. I made a joke at work about it. I was like, oh, it's so lame. And my coworker was like, oh, are you one of those people who actually thinks this is lame? I was like, no, it's space.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah, no, and in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, it was like 99 or 98%. So we went outside and it was weird how like the sky dimmed. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
even at 60%,
Yeah,
the quality
yeah.
of light changes. It's
Yeah.
really strange.
it got dim, but it never got fully nighttime. Like all the solar paneled like park lights and things turned on, because
Yeah.
they thought it was turning to be dusk. And we had the special glasses so we could see it. But Craig, I know that
Oh, you guys didn't just look at it?
Well, yeah, I mean,
With
I
no
did do
glasses?
that because I'm not a pussy. So
Okay, good. I was going to say, I mean, it's totally worth the very blurry computer screen I've got right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it changes.
But yeah,
Craig.
Craig, you said you drove south?
I did. I drove to the Forbidden Lands, also known as Ohio. But apparently everyone else in Michigan had that idea.
Yeah.
Because we have family in Cleveland. Veronica's brother lives there now. And so we went to their house and trying to keep your kids from looking up at it without the glasses. That's really stressful.
Really is, isn't it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The stakes are very high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Benji, please keep the glasses on. And then they'd fall off and he'd look up. We're like, oh, God, no. So, but yeah, we got to see it in totality, which was one of the most bizarre and beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. And it was just, yeah, it got colder all of a sudden. It got really dark. And there was like this weird, like red light underneath. Or is it green? I don't remember. It was something crazy at the very bottom of the eclipse.
Did you get superpowers?
No. And also, none of my sacrifices worked.
Oh.
So you're the reason why we all didn't get raptured today.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Man.
But yeah, no, it was really cool. Apparently, it's not going to happen in Michigan till like 2097, so we'll all be long gone by then.
I
Yeah.
won't be.
Unless we
I'll be a
want
robot.
to travel to Florida in 10
No.
years
No.
or 20 years. I forget what it was.
Ugh, no.
No,
I mean,
very
I guess
cool.
for the eclipse, I'll do it. And we got to get down there for the national park anyways. But
Mhm.
other than that, ugh.
But the
God.
drive back was awful.
Uh-huh.
Just as soon as we hit 23, it was just there's nothing happened. It was just too many people. We were just slow goings the whole way. So not great, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the sun, man.
Yeah, what's interesting about the sun is that we revolve around it and that it's
No, we don't.
constantly burning.
No, it just moves across the firmament.
Oh, right.
The dome.
No, the dome. That's right, because it's not actually up there. It's projected on a screen that's like bouncing back.
Yeah.
Something. Every theory I've ever heard of flat Earth thing is like you're doing a bit, right? Like you have to be
yeah.
doing
This is
a bit.
joke, right?
Like you have to be
couldn't-
doing a bit. And it's like, no, I don't.
And then you dig too far and anti-Semitic.
You don't.
But that's
dig,
every.
I was about to
that's
say,
every conspiracy theory.
and you don't usually have to dig too far. You
No,
usually
no.
have to ask
But,
a
like,
follow-up question, and then
for
it's
a
like,
normal
oh,
person,
there it
you
is.
have to like go to maybe the second page of Google results,
True.
and that is the forbidden zone. So it's farther than most people want to go, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Gosh, how many times do you actually go to the second page of Google?
I cannot remember the last time that I did that.
I do.
It's the dark web.
but I don't know how to use the internet anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like I had a thought the other day, and I was just like, "When was the last time I went to a website?" Like,
I have that thought like every other day.
like not like a social media like website. You know,
or
that's
like
also
something that aggregates content from other websites.
Yeah, but like an actual like website. Like I was like, I don't know, like never.
Yeah. Wikipedia is
Yeah.
the only one.
Yeah, and even that is like, you know, it's like so big now. Anyways.
Yeah.
Remember you used to go to like gnarlsbarkley.com and it was like cool? God, sound older,
don't
me.
remember that specifically. But back in my day, that's what we all sound like right now. God damn it.
I know.
Or like Homestar Runner wasn't a YouTube channel, it was a website, you know?
Yeah, it was a Flash player. Now they don't
Yeah.
even have Flash.
Yeah, and Homestar
Listen.
Runner, he died.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
The
he
character
did.
or the voice actor?
No, the character. He died.
Oh.
Yeah, he died January 6th.
God.
Yeah, you guys didn't know that? He went right wing hardcore.
Oh, I mean, we should have seen the signs.
I mean, his color scheme alone.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be strong bad, but it was Homestar all the way.
Yeah, strong bad is just like violently centrist,
Yeah.
but like tries to convince you that they're like a libertarian centrist, but actually they're secretly kind of right wing as well.
Well, it's because centrist is right wing.
Yeah,
Because
you got me there.
the left, as in Democrats, is also right wing. Like,
Yeah,
we don't
you
have a
got me
true
there.
left wing party.
No, you got me there.
Yeah. Anywho,
Well, aside from sad things,
yeah.
aside from the crushing weight of late stage capitalism, Craig, what have you been enjoying lately? What takes your mind off the boring hellscape that we live in?
So are you going to introduce the wallet? We didn't do the bit this time. So.
Oh, what's in your wallet?
Okay, we're just doing it. We're everything. The eclipse has fried all of our brains. It's the segment where we reach deep into our best friend's pants and whip out some recommendations. It's what's in your wallet.
Craig!
Phil, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. Your water bottle looked like it had a nose guard, but it's just so you can take a drink and not have to worry about getting punched in the nose.
Yeah. I got this as soon as Will told that story.
Yeah, I mean, that's smart.
Yeah.
It's now you're
Amazon's-
self-conscious.
Now there you go. It does look like a gas mask when you have the headphones on too. It's like a whole thing.
I was born in the dark.
I was born with a water bottle.
We're
Wild
going to
choice.
cut all this. Okay. So,
Didn't see a faucet until I can't remember the rest of it.
Batman. So what's in my wallet? So I watched a movie, and it's called The Creator.
Ah.
And
Somebody
already
just texted me recommending this,
yeah, I know,
but
who
I
was
don't
that?
value their opinion at all.
I know, I wouldn't either. It was me. Anyway,
Yeah.
directed by Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards did Rogue One, which is probably my favorite Star Wars movie. And I know
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of people who are really pissed about that because they have nothing else to be mad
I'll
about.
fist fight them.
Yeah,
I will die on that hill.
yeah. But The Creator is the visual effects alone and the cinematography are astounding. Like, it's not going to like blow you away with its story. It's very tropey. I think that's what most people's qualms with it. Whereas it wasn't like extremely original. Like, I still think that the characters and the way they go about it is original. Because I think a lot of sci-fi nowadays is it's either based on existing property or it's a book. So it's pretty rare that you actually get something that someone actually just came up with, an original story. So everyone's really good in it. It's just basically about they created AI robots and they blame the bombing of LA nuking of LA on AI, and so America basically outlaws it, and they're going to war with New Asia, or I forget what they're New China, to get rid of all the AI, and they have this huge like spaceship in the sky that basically hunts AI and like destroys them. So it's really interesting. Phil, it's like I said, it's 1,000,000,000% up your alley. So
Oh, I mean, it sounds like a movie I will love.
yes. So check that out.
Is it available somewhere to stream for me?
Yes, it is on Hulu.
Hulu.
It is on the Hulu.
Who knew it'd be on Hulu?
Oh, and I wanted to mention real quick, the other movie I watched that I enjoyed was Lisa Frankenstein.
I do want to see that too.
It's just silly. It's 80s pastiche, silly. Just you know exactly what you're getting into when you watch it. So it's not high art or anything like that. I think it's just a fun way to spend your Friday night. So check it out.
I mean, it sounds like if you were high, it'd be pretty art.
Oh, sure.
Hey-o, I'm on fire.
What you got,
Whoa. Will,
I asked you.
Oh, you asked me?
Yeah, I asked you.
Who? This guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll go back to ignoring you guys and following looking at my phone.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The Dip has a new single out. Just gotta advertise that. It's pretty fucking sick. We're gonna.
Isn't the Dip what you invest in?
No, it's. I like it.
It's a real good tune.
Yeah. Love Direction, is that the name of the song?
Yeah.
Is it a new album or just a new single coming out?
It is a new single, but they have a new album coming out, which is awesome because they just released a new album like last year.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm super hyped. Just more.
Yeah.
More of the Dip.
I need to like throw more of the Dip into my playlists and then like listen to them, because my Spotify, I think everyone has this like totally sucks where it's like, oh, you want me to shuffle stuff? Okay, I'll put all of your favorite things on top. And you're like, you don't know what my favorite things are. So yeah, it's the thing that you've played 1,000 times. It's like, no, it's the thing you've played 1,000 times. Because every time I shuffle this, you look at my play counts and put that on top. But I actually don't want to listen to the song anymore. It's like, oh, well, we'll delete it. And it's like, no, I still want you to think I like it. Guys. Yeah. It's like, you don't want to listen to that old stuff. You never listen to it because you never play it. Anyways.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling algorithm.
Yeah. That's why I'm starting to get real nervous about AI, just because, like, kind of feel like everyone's like, hey, we're going to use algorithms to decide how everything is done. And it's like, show me one that works. Show me one that works and I'll get on board. But, like, none of them work. And everything has been made exponentially worse because of all of this. They
don't work that well. They just are designed to make you think they're working well.
Yeah. I mean, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. And we'll talk about it on our new podcast.
Yeah.
Will and Phil versus...
Yeah, Ain't It
the
AI?
Robots.
It's a new podcast where we talk about AI with literally zero expertise. It's much like this one. Much like this podcast.
It's actually kind of exactly like, damn it. Yes, the Dip rules. They're so good. I'm going to see them again in the end of the month. No, in 2 weeks. In a week and a half. I'm seeing them at some point in the near future, and it's going to be fucking sick. It's the third time I've seen them. They're like my favorite band. They're so good. That's not my recommendation. That's just an announcement. That's just me doing my civic duty. And yes, I said duty. My recommendation is on Disney Plus. We've been watching a lot of animal documentaries. This one is called Queens. So there are 6 episodes, I think, and each one goes over like female role in the animal kingdom, whether it's like the matriarch of a group of bonobos or a female orchid bee that turns its firstborn daughter into free labor. And it's a really weird, that one was weird. There's one bugs episode, and that bee seems like a real bee, if you know what I mean.
Like a real bee.
Yeah. But they had an episode about Ethiopian wolves, which is not an animal I knew about, and it is now like top 10 animal for me. They're so cool. It's just good, and it's narrated by Angela Bassett. It's a great show. It's been very enjoyable to watch. We, for some reason, have been watching it backwards. So we started with episode 6. It's just been cool. It's the episode 6 and then episode 5. I think I almost cried at both of them. Animal documentaries, man. Sometimes you're watching it and then something happens that's just like very normal in the case of the natural world and like wild animals, and it just guts you.
It's pretty depressing most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's
grizzly
always
bear
like,
episode.
oh, if you're watching it from the gazelle's point of view, you're like, oh no, gazelle, get away. But if you're watching it from the female lion's perspective, it's like, well, now all their whole family's going to go hungry. They're all going to die.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God.
This one's more like you're watching it from the grizzly bear's perspective, and you're like, or the brown bear's perspective, and you're like, oh no, this is so sad. And then you're watching it from the coursing river's perspective, and you're like, oh no, this is so sad. I'm sad. Everything's sad. I'm crying
sad
right now.
Yeah,
it's a good nature documentary if it makes you cry. The elephant episode almost got me too. That honestly, no, that one got me.
Yeah, I only cry when it comes to
tear.
I only cry when it comes to like I grew up watching animal documentaries, so like I'm like used to it. Exactly what Craig said. Like I see both sides to it every single time, and so I'm like, yeah, but blah blah blah. That's how it works. But I do cry for elephants because they mourn their dead.
Yeah,
which is really
that part
sad.
Got me. Which I knew going into that episode.
Right.
I knew about that, but then there's one thing reading it, and it's another thing seeing them do it.
Yeah, yeah. And also
crazy.
killer whales who also mourn their dead and stuff. And they actually have like, they don't have quite language, but they have like
culture
sort of. So like,
yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys ever saw Blackfish, but like
I did not.
They had whales from different areas of the world, so it'd be like putting a person who speaks only English with a person who speaks only Chinese, in an enclosure together and expect them to get along. So like they just like didn't know what each other were saying. Like some whales eat sea lions and seals, and other killer whales don't because they're like, no, you know what I mean? It's not worth the hassle or whatever. It's
Some
just
surgically remove the livers from sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're killer whales are Jack's favorite animal. So that episode we watched, that episode was very good. Not sad. Horrifying, terrifying. They're very scary creatures.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not good in the water. And so to see a creature that is that good in the water and that like
they're so smart
and terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hard to
They're
watch.
called killer whales for a reason.
Veronica hates them because we watched one of the nature documentaries, and they like just hunted this mama blue whale and her baby until they wore them out, and then they just did that flippy thing on the baby and killed it. And she's just like, well, I hate those things forever now.
So just so you know, I'm
tell
sure
her not to watch that episode.
Yeah, they're Yeah. But there's different cultures, you know. Some killer whales are monsters, just like people. Some people are monsters, you know.
Yeah.
Most
These killer whales, the matriarch killed a baby so that her son could breed with this other pod. Because the only one that, because he, because it was hard to watch.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Have you ever wondered why there are no other men in Simba's pride? Like, where did all those baby male cubs go? I wonder what Mufasa did with all of them. Where are those? Where are they at?
I don't know.
Mufasa probably ate them.
I can't remember which one it was because we have too many of them that we've watched. But one of them was basically, it's like about nighttime, like animals that are out during night. And one of them was about how the artificial lights from cities is making the baby sea turtles go the wrong way. And it was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. And so, I was so angry.
That was Planet Earth 2.
Ooh, that was Planet Earth 2.
If it helps, I know there is a company when I worked at an electrical distributor. They made light bulbs because they were a company that was either based in Florida or had like moved their headquarters to Florida at some point. They had a light bulb specifically targeted for people's front porches. That was whatever color temperature it was. It would not confuse turtles. So there are people trying to fix that. Will, I've been reminded of late stage capitalism. Please get me out of this by telling me about something you like.
So what do I have in my wallet? Honestly, nothing. I'm not. So here's what I've been doing. I recently hooked up my old PlayStation 2 and pulled out Dark Cloud, which is a JRP action RPG from like 2000. And
harvest them crystals.
It's by Level 5, which is the same company that did Dark Cloud 2.
Dang.
And
I knew about Dark Cloud too. I did not know about Dark Cloud.
A great game that nobody played called Rogue Galaxy. And then they also did Dragon Quest 8, I want to say, which is the PlayStation. Yeah. They make pretty cool games. They also did the Ni no Kuni games. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I just busted out Dark Cloud, and I was like, you know what game I never played because like the second Dark Cloud 2 came out, I was like, I think this one's better, and so I just played that one a lot more as Dark Cloud 1. And it's kind of like the thing that's really fun about this game is that the first thing that happens in the story is that the entire world is wiped out. And so you are chosen by fairies or something. I don't know. I was a little drunk when I pulled it all out, so I didn't really watch the beginning opening, but I did wake up the next morning and I was like, oh, I forgot that I did this last night. I'm going to keep playing it. Anyways, and so like the whole point of the game is you go delve down in these dungeons and you like find parts of the town that you lived in and you rebuild the town. So it's got like a town rebuilding aspect to it. And it's got like tons of upgradable weapons and things. The combat kind of sucks, which is a shame because there's a lot of it and it's kind of frustrating. And it's like one of those like games where you're like, you're like playing it and you're like, are the developers mad at me for some reason? Like, why is this so needlessly difficult and annoying? It gets easier as you go, but like I don't know if this is a recommendation, but this is just what's in my wallet. I was just playing this game. I don't know. So Dan Bader, if you're listening, you already know I'm playing it because I told you. So you'd be the only one I think be interested in hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed it to Jack, and he couldn't do the controls, which I was like, I don't know why I thought you could do this. And so I just like frustrated him for 15 minutes, and I was like, I just made you aggravated, and I kind of knew that was going to happen because like, well, you know, when you're like 4 years old, you want to be good at stuff, you know, like I'm a as far as the average person goes, I'm on the above average when it comes to drawing. And so, like, you know, I would, like, be able to draw Pikachu, and he'd, like, draw Pikachu, and it was just, like, 3 scribbles, and he'd be like, well, that clearly isn't Pikachu. I clearly didn't draw Pikachu. You can do this. I am a failure. And I was like, no, what? No.
Yeah.
So he's
The
kind
all
of
or
like,
nothing.
yeah, well, he's also an older brother now, so like it's always like, I'm faster than Sean, right, Dad? I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't matter, buddy. As long as you're having fun while running. He's like, right, but I am faster. I'm like, well, yeah, clearly you're faster. He can barely walk, And it's like, yeah, so just trying to like
For now.
The real question is he faster than you?
Jack, yeah, so much faster than me. Yeah, because he
that sounds about
uses
right.
his legs, and I've given up on those. So
That makes sense. That
I'm
sounds like
a
you.
kicker, but I have skipped leg day for 20 years straight.
Yeah.
What the is leg
I
day?
kick with my punches. He's a punch kicker.
Yeah, so that's So I believe it's, I don't know, people can play it still. I believe it is on like the PlayStation Store, so you can like pick it up. If you were like listening to this and like, wow, Will, you really sold me on that. I really want to play part of your childhood tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
I
really
think I'll
nostalgic.
pick this up.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Wait, you were digging out a bunch of old games because you were like, Banjo-Kazooie sucks. I'm like, all right.
Well, I didn't. I was playing it on the. I think that's kind of what sparked it. Is I was playing on the emulator that they have on the Switch, right?
Yeah.
And I was playing Banjo-Kazooie, and like, I even have the. Craig, you helped me get the N64 controller. And like I have it specifically so making games like Banjo-Kazooie easier to play on the emulator that they have. And I'm still just like Banjo's like swinging like right past the bad guys and his hitbox, like their hitboxes are humongous and his is so tiny. Like, how am I supposed to do this, Banjo? Banjo, hit him. And then when you die in Banjo-Kazooie, it's like, all those things you got, forget it. They're gone. This game is a collectathon, and you collected nothing now because you died. And I'm like, wow, I can't think of anything more disheartening in a game like this. That's difficult, and then it's also punishing. It's like, you know what? And then, the whole time Jack is just going like, can we kill the witch now? No, we can't, because your dad is not good at this, Jack. Okay? Do you want to point out more of my faults? And then he's like, I don't know. I'm learning so many lessons today.
And if you get a game over, the witch gets hot, so we're gonna do that instead.
Yeah, there's also a lot of like humor where it's like what did she say, Dad? And I'm like, well, she sort of like pointed out how overweight she is, and she doesn't find herself very. So Grenhilda the witch is like got a lot of personal like self-esteem issues, so she's sort of like projecting that outwards on Banjo, and I don't know, but I don't know, buddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of things to explain.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you guys this on that same subject when we were in Hawaii with Jack's family. Our niece asked Jack what colonialism was.
Oh, that's fun.
And Jack was just like, we're going to have to talk about that in a few years. It was great.
You know what you could have said is well, how old is she?
7.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe not. Because like Jack's at that age where you just go like, oh, but it's just where they make a bunch of colonies. And he goes, oh, okay. Oh, okay.
The tautology defense.
Yeah. You just like sort of say the same thing back to him. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That satisfies the need for an answer. It's perfect. Yeah. You know what doesn't... Wait, no. I can do this. Colonization. Okay. Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hawaii is a state, and then there are other states, and in a lot of those states there are bars. And in those bars, sometimes there's like somebody who has to keep the riffraff in check.
Oh my god, this is the sweatiest.
And then sometimes there's like a cool guy who is like manager of the guys who keep the riffraff in check, and he like is elevated to the status of like a bit of a rock star in the community, and they would be called a cooler.
Because he's
and
cooler.
this all what? Yeah, because they're cooler
Yeah.
than the other people. So that's something. If that reminds you of anything,
That's right. We watched a movie. Wait a minute. What's this? I'm just learning this now, folks. We watched 2 movies. It's
Oh
our
my
very
God.
first double feature.
extra credit.
So that's right. We watched 2 movies. We watched Roadhouse and Roadhouse. So Roadhouse is a 1989 American action film directed by Rowdy Harrington and produced by Joel Silver. And Roadhouse is a 2024 American action film directed by Doug Liman, written by Anthony Bagrazzi and Chuck Mandry, produced by Joel Silver. And
Chuck
Roadhouse.
Mangione?
No, not quite. And Roadhouse stars Patrick Swayze, Ben Gazzara, whoops, Ben Gazzara, Kelly Lynch, and Sam Elliott. And Roadhouse stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Daniela Melchior, Billy Magnuson, Jessica Williams, and Conor McGregor. Roadhouse is 114 minutes long, and Roadhouse is 121 minutes long. Roadhouse had a budget of $15 million and made $61.6 million.
Okay.
And Roadhouse was released on Amazon Prime, so we don't know any of that information.
And
Yep.
we never will.
And we never, ever will because Bezos, evil supervillain, lost my thought.
Yep.
So how do you guys think Roadhouse did on Rotten Tomatoes?
Wait, Roadhouse or Roadhouse?
Roadhouse.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I'm going to say a solid 69.
Pretty good. Craig, how do you think?
51.
Craig has it 43. But
Oh, 43.
disagree.
Jeez.
43. I know, right? 67 on the audience score, so Phil was closer. And how do you guys think Roadhouse did on Rotten
Wait,
Tomatoes?
Roadhouse or Roadhouse?
Roadhouse, sorry.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm going to say 41.
I'm going to say exactly the same. I'll say 51.
Craig has it again, 60.
Ah, yeah.
I disagree again.
54 audience score. So I think Phil, you're more in line with the layman, and Craig's more in line with the hoity-toity uptag critics. So
Yeah.
Oh,
That all,
no.
that all tracks.
tracks.
Because all
That's- yeah.
critics are hoity-toity and unhinged. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm
so
a man of the people.
you really are. You're just a man with so many people.
And I've lost touch with the common man many years ago.
That's true because
That's what I say about you every single day of my life.
you
To
really
people who
need,
don't even know you.
and you know what's really suffered? Your stand-up career, because your jokes just aren't funny anymore.
No, they are just out of touch.
You should release a stand-up special about how you're out of touch, and then like a few months later get in trouble for being a real bee on your TV show.
And then I'll come back and say,
Which
no
one
one
was that?
No one lets
That was
me.
Ellen.
Yeah.
She had a whole special that was like, I'm relatable, or I'm relatable because I'm not relatable. I don't know. I remember watching it and it was fine. It was okay. And then it was like right before all that stuff came out that she's just like a monster to work with. Is a whole thing. And Craig is now on that
I'm
path.
Ellen, apparently.
Yeah.
Great.
That's how I've always felt.
Yeah, I mean, you even have her haircut. So
Her real hair that we don't see.
So I picked this movie. And why did I pick this movie? I picked this movie because Roadhouse has been on my list of movies that I want to check out. And then Roadhouse came out, and I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do something we've never done before. And that's going to get a lot of hype going about this episode. And then we're going to post it, and then we're going to become internet famous. Right? That's why we were doing this in the first place. Yeah. So
I agree.
I watched. Well, so I guess
Okay.
go for it.
Let's do like a bit of a lightning round situation.
Okay.
First, we're going to talk about the 1989 version. We'll go, all three of us will just give like a very brief lightning round, basically a yes or no, but with a couple more words.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then same thing for the 2024, and then I feel like we'll kind of vibe right into it, you know?
Sure, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
We'll vibrate right into it.
Yes. So Will.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about 1989's Roadhouse.
Okay. I loved it. I like, to me, it's like, I loved, I do sort of miss, the era of movie making, where it's just like, it's trying to do everything. So it's like, hey, you know what this movie needs? Action. It needs romance and boobs and like fights and explosions. And like, let's put everything that we know and a little bit of comedy here and there into a movie, because you're going to the movies and like the internet doesn't exist. So you don't get your comedy, pornography, and action piecemeal. You get them all at once. Anyways, so yeah, no, I loved it. And the other thing that I found surprisingly fun was like just, I explained this to Caitlin. It's like, it's really fun to watch somebody be good at their job. Like it's kind of got like that Bob Ross feel where you're just sort of like, man, it's like just fun watching somebody who's good at something. So like watch him take the bar from a hole to like basically a Chili's, which was kind of disappointing, but
Yeah.
it was also fun. And then the second half, he like loses his mind. So you're sort of like, I get, like, I'm rooting for this guy, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't be upset if he went to jail. Because maybe he should.
He does kill a guy.
He kills like 6 guys at the end.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. He full on kills multiple people. Oh man.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, Craig, I guess. Craig, how'd you feel?
Hi. Yeah, I hadn't seen Roadhouse before. It was on my list for a very, very long time. It's been referenced so many times to where I felt I'd seen it almost, but nothing could have prepared me for the real thing. I'm honestly surprised with how popular other 80s movies are, and they're of equal quality. I'm surprised so many people, like, this rating is so low. Like,
Same.
It swept the Razzies. Like, everyone's like, this is a terrible movie. Everything about it's bad. I'm just like,
yeah,
I don't understand this. This is just
because it lives in a fantasy world that is sort of like, it lives in this world where like being a bouncer and being in charge of a group of bouncers is the coolest job you could ever have. But like everyone knows who bouncers are. It's always just like somebody who's just big enough and overweight enough to be intimidating, but like doesn't have any other skills.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a movie about arm wrestling called Over the Top. Like, it's got more than that. It's more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of differences between the newer one. I saw the new one first.
Whoa.
No,
I know.
we're not doing the new one.
Those
We're not doing-
breaks.
I know. I'm just saying.
Wait, you saw
Lightning
the new one first?
I watched the new one first.
I know.
Weird. Okay, we'll get into that.
Yeah, I know the psychology behind that madness.
All right, Phil, how'd you feel?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
good.
God, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people on the internet say that it's like a so bad it's good movie. And I can see where you'd say
Yeah,
that, but I
yeah.
also kind of don't feel like it's a so bad it's good. I think it's just genuinely really enjoyable.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
it's not amazing. It's not great even, but like
They drive
It's
a monster
so fun.
truck through a
yeah.
dealership.
So
yeah.
So to me, so when I was in college, I read this book, and I can't remember what it was called now. It was something.
Was it Hatchet by Gary Paulson?
No, it definitely wasn't. Didn't everyone read that in middle school?
Yeah, I just like to bring it up as much as possible.
I read this book, and I can't remember what it was called now, but it was all about elevators, and it was this world in which having a job working and servicing elevators was like the most coveted position, you know? And so like, and it just was just like this weird world, and it kind of like was fun to read, and like, but you have to do that when watching this. You just have to go when they say like, you know, being a bouncer makes you world famous. You're just gonna go, okay, sure, I'm accepting that now.
Yep.
You know, that everyone knows the name of Sam Elliott's character, you know, which is like something really dorky. What is his name? It's like
Wade Garrett.
Wade Garrett, yeah.
Now, okay, so I know that's a common criticism of, no, maybe not criticism, but like a common bit is that like, oh, they're living in this world that like bouncers are like rock stars. But I will say it is only people in the industry that seem to know who he is, which is strange, but less strange than like he goes to this small town and a random passerby is like, oh, I know who you are. You're Dalton. It at least almost makes sense.
Yeah, and
But it also doesn't.
it doesn't. It doesn't matter, and they sort of rectify that in the second one, in the second movie, in the remake, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, if we want, we can just kind of go around how we felt about that one now.
Yeah.
So I also loved it. I thought it was great. I was surprised because I was kind of like waiting to like be like, okay, this is a cheap. This is going to feel like it's on Amazon. It's going to feel cheap. It's going to feel like it's like a cash grab in a certain way. But I felt like it kept the skeleton of Roadhouse, but changed enough of it that it felt new at the same time. Like Patrick Swayze's Dalton is not Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton.
No.
But I'm kind of okay with it because they are still sort of the same character. Like Patrick Swayze's character takes himself really incredibly seriously, whereas Jake Gyllenhaal's character is much more just sort of like smiley. Like one of my favorite parts is he's like, ooh, a double cross. Oh, a double cross.
Yeah.
Like, and he's just sort of, I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was as best as what it could be, you know? There was no way I was going to walk away from it and going like, this is my favorite movie, you know? I just don't know how that could have happened, but
right.
Just because like the subject matter of
potential. The
subject matter of like dudes kicking other dudes out of bars is never a topic that I'm like I'm ever going to be like, yeah. Oh boy, masculinity versus masculinity. Who cares? But Craig, how did you? Also, I watched the old one first and then this one, so I think that also affected me. But Craig, how did you feel about it?
I liked it. I kind of went in knowing that people were down on it, and so I don't want to say that kind of made me go one way or another at first, but I think it fixes a lot of the lazy story writing from the first one.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in place of that, you have people like Conor McGregor in there who does not know how to act at all. He just is just there. And there's just weird choices. Like who is it they had doing the fight at the beginning?
Oh, Post Malone.
Post Malone. That was cool.
They did CG of him punching.
Oh, the CGI in the second movie is dog.
Yeah, it's really
the
bad.
CGI and honestly a lot of the fight scenes in the new one were dog shit.
It was almost distractingly bad. No, it was distractingly bad.
Distractingly bad, for sure.
Yeah. When
however,
when what's his name? Post Malone did that first punch, I was like, what the hell was that? What was
happening?
that? Why did that look so bad?
Now, I will say we do need to level the same thing against the first one because there are times when Patrick Swayze kicks someone, but his leg is fully extended and has not contacted the person, and then they fly across the room. So the fight scenes maybe aren't great in either.
So, I mean...
But it's not the point.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the difference being is whenever you watch an old movie versus one that like uses CGI, you sort of are like, you're kind of going like, there's at least some sort of like physicality and like art in like these choreographed, whether or not they're choreographed. Like, and I would say that Roadhouse is competently choreographed. You know what I mean? Like it's not, and I would say that the second Roadhouse is incompetently CGI'd almost. You know what I mean? Like not incompetently, but like
it doesn't.
When you do CGI, it should be invisible, right? The whole point is to make it seem like it happened. It needs to be. And if I'm going, there's CGI, there's CGI, there's CGI every single time, you failed. You know what I mean? Like, even if,
in
like,
this movie, it should be real.
So, like, when people like make fun of the Star Wars movies, like, I remember people watching Episode 1 and being like, if you watch his lightsaber, he's not trying. He's like clearly missing him and not trying. He's just doing it for flash and substance because it looks cool. At least it looks cool. You know what I mean? Even if he's not hitting, you know? Whereas this is like, So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
All right, Phil.
So Craig, modern one, you did like.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it was fine. I definitely, and we'll get into it. If I'm picking one, I'm picking the older one.
Yeah.
But I do think the new one did a lot of cool things to sort of modernize it.
For sure. I think putting it in Florida was a brilliant move too.
Yeah,
because
people fight in Florida all the time.
Yeah, whenever something insane happened, I was like, well, you know, it is Florida.
It is Florida. You know? Yeah, like I could believe that Florida, if the paper was like, Florida man crashes boat into a bar to do some crazy plan when his dad's in jail and he's a douchey, sloppy white guy.
Also, it's more isolated. It's on an island. It's not the middle of nowhere. It's it just. But what I liked about the second one is that it knows it's silly. It kind of leans into it without winking. Like, this is really dumb, isn't it?
That was Jack had put, because she watched both of them with me, and she gave me some of her takes, and that was one of her bigger takes. Was like, she really liked they made a lot of references in the newer one, both to the older movie and to like things that are ridiculous about the whole concept of the movie. And it was just kind of fun. I also loved that they made reference to the plot just being a Western, because the first movie is absolutely a Western. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Like, even if Sam Elliott wasn't in it, it's absolutely a Western.
Right. Cause he comes to a town that's like in under the thumb of like some sort of shogun or whatever the Wild West equivalent was, you know, oil baron or whatever who owns the town. And the whole like personal vendetta and like,
and his character. And so in the first movie, a lot of the characters share either a first name, a last name, or like a full name with a character from the American West, which is kind of fun. And I don't know if his name was Elwood he was just Dalton in the first one, which is the Dalton gang or the Dalton something. But then they added Elwood to his name and made it even more Western-y sounding. It was just in the newer one.
Yeah, in the new one, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is Elwood Dalton. And I think Patrick Swayze's character is just Dalton.
Dalton,
yeah.
I think them updating like his past, like him being a UFC fighter, works better than we don't really know. He's just a very good bouncer who happens to know Krav Maga or something like that, and like he rips out people's throats, and it's just like, okay. And so again, that story beat makes a bit more sense.
So here's the thing: I feel like they tried to like cover up like a quote unquote plot hole of like, why does everyone know who Dalton is from the first movie? And in my opinion, they made it an even bigger one, because like Dalton in the first movie is a bouncer. He works as a cooler, like, and that's his job. Like, he knows how to do this stuff. And like the guy sees him, headhunts him and says, I will pay you more than you're getting paid here. And Dalton's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll fix your bar. And in this movie, it doesn't make as clear sense to me, because like she's this woman who owns the bar comes to like an underground fight club looking for basically somebody to be the big bouncer, the cooler at her bar. She's looking for Post Malone, but Post Malone nopes out when he figures out who Dalton is, because he goes to fight him. And Dalton's like, she's like, I'm going to hire you then because he was scared of you. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you don't want to hire a fighter. You want to hire a cooler, a bouncer. Like, I know those jobs are like close, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, to me, it sort of made less sense in why she was headhunting him. And I'm not saying it was like, it didn't feel like something any other movie would have done. You know, I feel like that kind of thing has happened in plenty of movies. It's not necessarily a bigger plot hole. I also hate the term plot hole because people always say like, there's a plot hole. It's like, just because they didn't explain it overtly doesn't mean it's a plot hole. You know, or just because you didn't understand what was happening doesn't mean there's a plot hole. You know, there's 100 reasons why. Anyways. But
my only thing there is that I think she saw what his reputation did.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Which is the only thing he would have. And like, if the guy she's going to is afraid of this guy's reputation,
right,
he's going to be afraid of, you know, the people who might become. But still, I
think I yearn for a world where like somebody who is qualified for the position that they're getting hired for gets hired for it, rather than somebody seeing you do something one time well and assuming you must do everything else well and playing into some sort of hype. And then like you know what I mean? Like maybe that's me projecting a little bit. Like I'd like to see people get hired who are good at the things that they're getting hired to do.
Dalton in the new movie had one good single and then was given a record contract.
Exactly.
Dalton in the old movie has been a working musician his whole life.
Yes.
And at age 60 finally gets a single album deal.
Yeah, correct. That's exactly it. Mm-hmm. And but you know,
in the new one, like everyone kind of knows who Dalton is, and like word spreads really quick, but they had to add, like, the one thing I don't like is when they always have to add in a kid to soften up the tough exterior sort of thing. And they have to give him a reason to not leave town because they don't have...
They did in Waterworld, you know.
Yeah.
They don't have Sam Elliott's characters, so they have to have a reason for him to stay. And it's just like, everyone is too nice to him when he comes in. I'm like, this is a little too... outside of reality. Like,
I feel like a lot of those really insular places, they are welcome in some aspects, but like, I feel like he'd be getting a lot of side eye. There'd be at least one person who would be overtly mean to him.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing that was weird about the setting of the second one was like, in the first one, I got the sense that there was like a town in the surrounding area, and also it was set in the 80s, so it's like, you know, where do you go? Oh, you go to the local roadhouse. I don't know. But like this place was like, it was like, everything seemed like it was like just on the side of a road, you know? And it didn't feel like an actual town in any way. Like it felt like, like literally it was like a strip mall. He went to a strip mall, and then he went to the roadhouse, and then down the road to a hospital, you know? And it was like, those are the only places we saw. In the original, you see like a farm, we see his house, we see Red's place, another shop, you know, there's a car dealership. It's very clearly like a small town. So like that was the setting was like, I was like, I like that it's in Florida. I don't like that it's here. I don't know.
You know what? They missed like a single scene because they had a line that, now I can't remember her name. Frankie's character said that she was the last holdout.
Right.
And if you looked at the main villain's
plan,
he had like one of those models of the city with the resort built. There were no other buildings, and I almost wonder if it literally is. She is the last building besides this little strip mall on this island.
Sure, but it's also like, where is everyone living? I don't know. It just
they show some houses, but that's it.
Yeah, it just felt a little like, I don't know. It was it like, to me it felt like a set almost in a weird way. I don't know. which is funny because
that's
the
fair.
other one was so clearly a set. The first,
So how do they do with women representation in each of these movies?
Okay, there's a lot of boobs in the first one,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jack said, let me see. OG is way better, but too many tits was the exact quote from my wife.
That's so funny. Craig said the opposite. He just
The
was
new
like,
one's better, but the old one
no,
has
the old one needed more tits.
I
It's
did
just all-
not
just
say
all-
that.
just all breasts everywhere
of
you
them.
look.
No, my favorite thing to do is every
it
time
had a
they're
surprising amount.
yeah.
I did not know that was coming.
I didn't either. I was also not surprised by it because the second you get an R-rated in
Fair.
the 70s and 80s, it's like if you get a movie that's like R-rated, it's like there's going to be some boobs in there. There's going to be at least one or two, you know? Because that's one of the reasons why kids, well, I say kids, but I mean like teenagers and young adults went to R-rated movies was the promise of some boobs. Well, it's R-rated. There's going to be at least a boob. And that'll be
At
enough
least
to
a
get me
boob
through
and
the winter.
one boy butt.
Oh, and yeah.
So the weird thing about watching the newer one first is they both have the bartender lady, or at least the lady who works at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Carrie in the old one?
Hmm.
I think it's Carrie Ann.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yes. Something else.
And
I'm gonna get there. Keep going. I'm
they
gonna find it.
so they both bring breakfast to Dalton, and they're like one of the more welcoming people there. But what's, I watched the new one, and it's clear that they're just setting her up as a friendly face, because unfortunately it's a movie where you can't have a traditionally handsome man end up with an overweight woman, because that would just absolutely destroy everyone's brains. Just
That's not how movies
doesn't make
work.
sense. So that pissed me off. I was like,
fair enough.
why couldn't they just, this could be it. They could just have it like this. And then the old one, again, the girl, they kind of set her up. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where they're going. And then she gets completely pushed to the side, and it's the nurse, or the doctor, I should say. Sorry.
Well, okay, now the only thing with the first one is that she clearly ends up falling in love with the
musician.
blind guitar player.
Yeah.
That's
Who's a real-
absolutely my headcanon for what happens after the movie is over.
I mean, I kind of insinuated that too, or assumed, I should say, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's fair. The comic relief character is never the traditionally hot character. And it's, we've still got a long way to go, I feel like.
God, do we ever?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also like this movie is trying to repeat a movie from the 80s. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Yep.
it's unfortunately like locked into some like, unhealthy relationship stuff. But the blind guitarist, by the way, his real name is Jeff Healey, and he was a real guitarist who was blind and taught himself how to play with his own unique lap style. And he was by far my favorite part of the original movie, just like watching him like play and just
Hell
be
yeah.
awesome at the guitar.
It's very rare that you get a band in a movie that you can tell is actually playing the instruments that they're playing, and that's fun. I feel like you get it more nowadays, but like a lot of times a band in a movie is just like miming things,
Right.
And you can tell, especially drums, it's really hard to get drums right unless you just have somebody playing the drums.
I gotta say, he's a really good musician, but his other job, which was introducing all the characters, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Dalton. Like, what?
He does just randomly
Yeah.
announce Dalton's name. Oh man.
No, I mean, I think I like both of these movies for different reasons. I think it was a good way of doing
Yeah.
it. I think they're both funny. I like the guy getting eaten by a crocodile.
Yeah, because
Pretty
I
solid.
thought he was going to be Jimmy in the first one, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be the guy who he ends up fighting. Which it's kind of interesting in the first movie, him ripping Jimmy's neck out kind of felt like I knew that was a big moment in this movie. I knew that was like sort of like one of the iconic moments. And I thought that that was going to happen at the very end of the movie, and he was going to do it to the big bad. But when it turned out later, like Jimmy was like his lieutenant, sort of, and like it is sort of interesting that they sort of fixed that with the Conor McGregor character and sort of made him not necessarily the big bad, but like this sort of like, what's the word? Immovable object or unstoppable force, like just kind of coming in at him like a hurricane.
Very Western of them.
Yeah, which I liked that better, because like at the end of Roadhouse, when it's just like him and the old man, I was like, well, like Dalton's gonna win.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
and the old man's like, I was looking forward to fighting you. I'm like, you
Oh yeah,
were?
that
Like,
might be one of the dumbest
I was
lines
like,
I've heard.
are you kidding
ever.
me? You're like 70 and you've
Yeah.
seen him like pick people up by their necks and throw them out windows. Like, you're insane.
Okay, so on the like big bad guy front, my two thoughts is I like the bad guy in the new one better
Yes.
because I love the idea of a stupid rich kid
Yes.
who's not very good at anything being mad that his plan isn't working, and then he ruins his own plan worse than the good guy ever could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I like the first one better in terms of how the big bad is dealt with.
True.
Because I love that at the end of the first movie, it's not Dalton really that beats him.
Yeah.
It's the shop owners. It's the town takes back the town, not Dalton
That's true.
saves the town. And I think that's a really cool. They also
Very Western.
very Western. What's the what's the everyone stabs the guy so no one knows who actually killed the guy.
Caesar?
Murder on
Is
the
that
Orient
Caesar?
Express.
Oh, yeah, there's also that.
Yeah.
Spoiler for
Either way, they did
Murder on the
they did a
Orient
that
Express.
thing.
Yeah.
Where they each shot him and then they hid the guns and they were just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't see
I didn't
anything."
see nothing.
And then, they turn to the comic relief guy, and he's like, "Did you see anything?" And he's like, "A polar bear fell on me." Which
So
they had the sort of goofy comedic character in the form of Mo in the second one, which is Arturo Castro, who I know
Yes.
from as Jaime from Broad
Yeah.
City.
yes, I
and
wanted to talk about him.
He was fun. I loved seeing him in that. And
Are those your guys' bikes outside? Yeah, mine's the red one on the end. Like what?
And he was just like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I'm just a part of this because these guys, it's so hard to find people to ride bikes with, Yeah, he was fun.
Yeah, that was a solid character.
But yeah, I mean, I like both these movies, and I do think they did a good job, like with the second one, like sort of making it feel like its own thing, but also like keeping so much of the other thing that it's like echoing Roadhouse, without
Yeah.
being like a shot for shot, like completely pointless remake,
Okay, so here's the real question that we have to ask here. Who would win in a fight? Patrick Swayze or Jake Gyllenhaal?
See, now you've asked this question, and Craig, I can tell you with certainty, twice over, no one wins in a fight.
Oh my God.
I knew that was coming, and I got so excited. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do we have anything else to say about this movie?
I think new Dalton has light superpowers.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, so does every.
I think he would beat old Dalton.
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
true. I mean, like ever since like Fast and the Furious was like, hey, you know how there are like superhero movies? Let's just like do that, but like never say it's a superhero movie. We've like sort of like all accepted that if you're a hero, you have the powers of like Goku in early Dragon Ball. You know,
Yeah.
just no
You're
matter
like
what.
you're a light Captain America.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's 80s Saturday morning cartoons. It's G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Okay. How do we want to?
I say we rate Roadhouse first, and then we rate Roadhouse, but we do it individually. So Phil would give both ratings, or do you want to do it that way, or do you want to do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I've got this. Let me just start. I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this 5 out of 5. If you love me, buy me a big TV. And I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. Is bar fight the new food fight?
Okay. Oh yeah, because a guy literally yelled "bar fight"
Bar fight.
like he was what's his name, Belushi in Animal House.
Yeah. John Belushi.
John
right?
Belushi.
Yeah. That was first one, then second one. Yes, I was gonna make you guys guess, but then it was too obvious. I feel like the first one's a 5-star for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the second one's I don't think Roadhouse 2024 is a 5-star, but I did enjoy it, and I think it's worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
4 might be too high. But maybe 5's too high.
Okay, so I have mine. So I'm going to give this movie 5, and this is a direct quote from Craig. Hold on, wait a minute. Is Sam Elliott hot? Out of 5.
Oh my gosh, yes. This is the youngest Sam Elliott I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think.
I feel like he was born this way.
Yeah, he was.
Man.
I was
He
like,
looks good.
when he swept his hair back. I'm like, all right, I get it.
He had like a samurai top knot
Yeah.
thing going on at one point.
Just him coming in and him just being like, oh hey, what's going on? He's just getting the shit beat out of him.
and then I'm going to give Roadhouse a 4.8. Is it a Roadhouse or is it a tiki bar? It's a tiki bar, but they're calling it Roadhouse. Also, there's like a weird joke about it being called Roadhouse. And she's like, do you get it? And I'm like, no, because you didn't explain it yet. But you got like tiki stuff everywhere. I guess.
This joke only works on paper.
I don't know. What am I missing? Out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that stands on the shoulders of Roadhouse, but it also can't get out from underneath its shadow. You know what I mean? So like to both of those things, it kind of just feels like it's like, yeah, this movie is great, but like it's only great if you watched Roadhouse first. Did I confuse it yet? I was hoping to get really confusing.
Well, you're just saying that you liked Roadhouse.
Yeah, that's right.
More than Roadhouse,
Correct.
but Roadhouse was still good.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Totally
I'm
clear.
gonna grade this on a curve,
Okay.
just because
Isn't that what we're always doing?
I know because
Wait, do your guys' ratings mean stuff? I just throw out numbers.
The numbers matter?
honestly,
I was just making jokes.
normally I would say 4 and 3.5,
Okay.
but I'm gonna go and do
4 and 3.5. You f***ing loser. What?
See,
Wow.
exactly.
Jesus Christ, you son of a
Damn it.
bitch.
See, again, out of touch with the common man.
You're up there in your hoity-toity
My ivory
white
castle.
tower looking
Yeah,
down
and
on our
your-
road houses.
In your 2-story mansion full of taxidermy and sex parties.
You don't have a roadhouse. You have a street mansion, an avenue mansion.
You're buzzing my farm with your helicopter every morning just to make me angry.
There is no way that house, that barn would still be there with that guy living next door.
No.
He would have.
No, it didn't make any sense.
No.
Not if the guy's willing to kill people.
He literally, like, how many bombs did they have? They blew up how many buildings?
They blew up so many
I was about to
things.
say, like, at some point, the National Guard will get involved.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
It was like, oh no, he owns the police. I'm like, you can't make the police turn their heads at you driving a monster truck through a dealership.
Also, like, his business, in order for you to make money off of his business has to make money.
Yeah.
You just guaranteed he'll never make you. Well, I don't know why I thought a millionaire would have sound logic.
Yeah, that's very silly.
So I would give that. I don't have anything clever, so I'm going to say 5 out of 5 polar bear attacks and 4 out of 5 crocodile attacks.
Nice.
Yeah, some good animal attacks.
Yeah, some pretty good animal attacks. And I looked it up. I was like, wait, Florida has alligators. We don't have crocodiles. And then I looked it up. No, there's saltwater crocs live in the Keys. So,
Dude.
You know.
Alligators and crocodiles are sick.
Yeah.
They are.
So,
what other animal hasn't evolved in like 20 million years?
These little horseshoe crabs.
They're also sick.
Yeah. Echidnas? No, alligators are older than echidnas. Echidnas are still pretty old.
I will say the first one was a lot more uncomfortable with male sexuality in terms of it was a lot more homoerotic.
Sure.
There was a lot more of that like 80s I want to kiss this guy so bad, but I'm going to beat him up instead.
Yeah, I guess.
And the second one didn't have as much, and I feel like it was more fun.
Yeah,
than
the second
first
one lacked a buddy though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bromance in Roadhouse,
a kissing buddy.
Yeah, and there's no bromance in.
There's no kissing buddies.
Yeah, no kissing buddies. There is somebody named Big Dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that a whole lot.
No.
I didn't love it. It's not my favorite.
The double cross part. Just like you really thought they would kidnap my daughter. Yeah, I actually kind of did. What?
Ooh, double cross.
Oh man.
Yeah, once Dalton is like, you made me mad, and he kind of like turns into the Joker in the second half of the second movie. I was like,
yeah,
all right, this is fun. I like it.
Yeah,
like this is why I'm here. You know? Yeah.
It looked like he was having a lot of fun playing that part.
Oh yeah. All right, is that it? We got to move on to what we're watching next.
It's a me.
It's not me.
It's a Maya turn. So it might feel like I just went and I did. Seems like I don't know. These
wait, what?
weeks are going by too fast. It is my turn again, and I thought I would give a movie from 2006 another chance because when it came out, I went and saw it, and I was very cold and indifferent to it. But I had a lot of movies that year that I was not feeling for some reason, and that movie is Children of Men.
I'm so excited. I love this movie.
Yeah, this movie blew my mind when I saw it.
Yeah.
This movie. We're gonna have so much to talk about.
I've heard nothing like people go on and on and on. This is like the best movie from that year. It's one of the best sci-fi movies. I'm just like, what did I miss? I must have just
sometimes it just hits wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
When you're watching something and it's just like it could be the greatest movie in the world, but if it's not hitting right.
Yeah. And if you were like going into it expecting it to be like this big science fiction epic, I don't think Children of Men is really that science fiction-y. I mean, it's set in like a dystopian world, but it's much more like, war and you know what I mean? It's like it's a refugee war movie.
Science fiction is the backdrop.
But it's not really like science fiction in the sense that like Star Trek is science fiction or
there's no lasers.
Other things.
Oh, there's no lasers, right?
Clive Owen at the very end, he just goes like Point Break, and he just shoots a bunch of lasers in the air.
Yeah, I didn't care for that part, but the
Yeah.
rest was great.
The rest was great.
That part was
They should
confusing.
remake Point Break with Clive Owen, and it's just in the future, and it's just laser guns. I'd watch that. And they're like,
You'd
they're
be the
dressed
one.
as presidents when they're robbing the banks, and it's different presidents. It's more modern presidents. That'd be
You're
sick.
blowing my mind, man. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to let us know which one is your favorite, do you like Roadhouse or do you like Roadhouse?
Are you a puncher or a kicker?
Yes.
All right, so this episode was brought to you by the Dalton to my Wade Garrett Brad Barr.
Hey.
Notice I put myself as Wade Garrett because
Yeah.
Sam Elliott's the GOAT. If you're interested,
Well, Andy gets stabbed so
and
it's-
dies,
probably don't
right?
want-
Yeah, and that's much more likely to happen to me. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, if you're interested in helping support us and want to hear your name shouted out, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Mumble and Shrug.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. Maybe make a reputation for yourself in a certain industry and then get headhunted to go to a bar in Kansas or something.
Missouri.
And then I don't know where I'm going with this. Give us a review though. It'd be cool. That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodas.
And I'm Craig Norland. And now you know the rest of the story.
I used to guys like you in prison. That's a line from the movie,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, you're
Do
like
I
sort of
regret
like,
saying it? Do I regret putting it to a recording? No. No, because somebody wrote that as a line.
yeah, it was one of those lines in the movie where you're like, oh.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that line.
Apparently, I was reading the IMDb. His mom, the actor's mom, like stood up and clapped when that line happened. I was like, there is a lot
Why?
more to unpack there.
There's so much weird going on.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.